Hello, everybody. It's another edition of Let's Talk Buffs. I'm sitting by what is like the prodigy right now. I feel after today's work for Let's Talk Buffs, Carter Dillon. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just super pumped to get into this Baylor game. It's a big game. It's homecoming. We got a bunch of recruits coming in. Just a huge game to kick off Big 12 conference play.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, especially coming off of a big win in CSU. That felt to me. I was talking on David Talk Buffs. If anyone's watching this, please go watch that. I was on there after that CSU game, and it felt like a get right game for Colorado. Like that could have gone two different ways right there. And if they lost that, the season's heading a different direction. If they win it, the season's heading in a completely different direction. That was a get right game for them. Big win. And yeah, so now we're heading into the Baylor game. This is a homecoming game for the Buffs, Carter. It's at home in Boulder. Big recruits coming in, and that's something I just wanted to hit off from the beginning here. Carter, let us know, let Buffs fans know what recruits are coming in this weekend. And this is such a big weekend, so just let us know about it.
Yeah, man. So obviously it's a big weekend. I don't think there were any recruits on campus for North Dakota State. So this is your first home game since then. So we got starting off 4-star safety Byron Baldwin. Let's Talk Buffs exclusive from Baltimore, Maryland.
Talk about that real quick. Carter, pause. We need to hold it up. Let's Talk Buffs exclusive. He will be there at this next game. It was announced hours after Carter got the scoop there. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the prodigy right here. So shout out to Carter Dillon. Yes. And plenty more exclusive content coming from us soon. Get into that real quick about him.
Yeah, man. We'll have recruiting recaps coming from a bunch of recruits. Him being one of them. So he let Let's Talk Buffs announce it, and then a couple hours later announced his with his graphic. But he's committed to Indiana right now. He committed there in April. CU offered him on September 2nd, and he is already coming on campus for a visit. Joey told me this before the show. I didn't know this. Indiana's top recruit right now. So that's why Indiana fans were in our mentions. Kind of funny. But he's going to be in Boulder this weekend. Then we have 4-star safety, another safety, Antonio Branch Jr. from Miami, Florida, who was committed to Penn State in June. CU offered him on the 5th of September, and he is already coming onto campus. Then we have Colorado kid Fabian. I'm going to botch this. Abagulum.
Sounds right to me.
He's a 6-0 academy kid. 6-0 academy kid. So he's a dog from Mount Vista High School, edge middle linebacker. He'll be on campus. 3-star DB Mikhail Benner from Broomfield, Colorado, another Colorado kid who's committed to Air Force right now. And then for rounding out the 2025 guys, we got a big one. 4-star offensive tackle Carday Smith from Alabama. He's committed to USC right now. CU offered him in May. He was committed to Auburn, but now he's committed to USC. Got to have a relationship with Julian Lewis, so he could be one of those guys. If Juju does end up flipping to CU, he would follow him. He's going to be on campus. And then we have one 2026 guy and one 2027 guy, cornerback Hayward Howard Jr. from New Orleans. CU offered him in June. He is constantly retweeting CU stuff, especially Julian Lewis stuff. And then for 2027, wide receiver Landon Wolney, who lived in Colorado, moved to Florida, lives in Naples, Florida now. So, yeah, those are our recruits for this weekend that have been announced so far.
That's awesome to hear. I like to hear us going more after the high school kids, and it feels like they are this time around. It felt like they had to get their core right, and even in the transfer portal this last time around, they got some younger guys. Like I'm thinking of Big Sam on edge from Pitt. That's a guy that was only a sophomore coming in here. He's going to have time with the Buffs. Like they got core and they have depth now, so they're able to add on with these high school recruits, recruit and develop. That's something I'm excited to see, especially across that offensive line. When you mentioned Carday, who's with USC right now, and he has offers from everywhere. When I look at it, it's not just USC, it's not just Auburn. is every school is out offering card A for CU to be one of the schools that gets a visit from him. That just kind of shows you how these kids are thinking of the Colorado program right now as well. I mean, I did somebody, Mason, on Twitter. I'm going to shout out his name later, but he's writing for some CU report over there, and he messaged me and had me answer the question. I was like, well, what people are forgetting is that when I was rooting for that team that won one game, a recruit like Card A even coming on a visit to Colorado would have been insane. And that's the difference between then and now. It really is. Even if we don't land him, like, it just kind of shows you how these kids are thinking of Colorado nowadays, even taking this visit. It's a big deal and it's cool. So I'm excited to see that. Like Carter mentioned earlier, we have a lot more exclusives coming to Let's Talk Buffs. This isn't the only thing we have going on here, just that one report today. No, we have stuff stacked up on top of each other. Shout out to Carter for that. Probably coming after this weekend. So keep an eye out. Make sure you guys are following at Let's Talk Buffs on Twitter. That's where a lot of the information will be spread, so do that. But let's get into Baylor week. We are playing the Baylor Bears. Carter, give me a thought right off the bat here. Let's start off with offense. What are you worried about? What have you seen from Baylor there?
Yeah, so I mean, you got to win this game, right? You had your bounce back for CSU. Now this is your time to go on a little run here to start the Big 12 season. But offense, it's kind of ugly. Like that's it's a crazy first word to call their offense, but it is ugly. They can't pick a quarterback. It's a very just basic offense. It's if DeQuan Finn's in there, it's RPOs. They're running it with him. They're running the ball like every play, or he's throwing it deep. Then the other quarterback, Sawyer Robertson, if he's in there, he's a little more traditional and accurate, but it's still not the cleanest offense. DeQuan Finn has 3 touchdowns, 2 picks with a 53% completion percentage, which is just ugly. Like if he starts this weekend, he's going to throw a pick to probably Travis because Travis is everywhere.
Yeah, especially if you're able to stop that run. That's kind of, it feels like the backbone of their team. And these are stats. What's the one school they played? It's like Tarleton State.
Tarleton State, yeah.
Tarleton State and Air Force. I'm just saying, you would hope your starting quarterback has better numbers when 2 of your 3 games are against Tarleton State and Air Force, especially when this is an Air Force team that it isn't as good as your normal Air Force teams. This is a bad version of Air Force. I think this is ugly too. I think their offense just isn't very good, and it's very because of their quarterback situation. A lot of stuff going lateral on their line. If they're not running, they're passing lateral, especially when Finn is in there. It's going sideways. That's what it is. It's screens. It's RPOs, to your mention. That's the type of offense you should expect here. Having 2 picks in an offense like that isn't very good when you're so run heavy and you're throwing as lateral as they are. Like, you're not trying to have a ton of picks when your offense is based around quick game. And that's kind of what it is right now for them. They're just trying to live another down. They're trying to work their way in to favorable positions other than being explosive because they just don't have that quarterback on their team. And Carter, CU's defense has been really, really good. That's one thing. If you go back to one of the first episodes on here, I said after the NDSU game, I want to see Livingston adjust. He did more than adjust. This team is really good. He's found different players to play who are massive difference makers in the 2 games since. And showing crazy looks on 3rd and long. That's the type of stuff where you're going to start to see a pick from DeQuan Finn. If you can force them to a 3rd and long, all right, and now Livingston's throwing some crazy cover 0 blitz at Baylor, it could get really scary for them. What are you kind of worried about here? Are you worried about anything for Colorado's defense, or are you just expecting this to be kind of a dominant performance from them?
Yeah, I think I'm not really worried about the defense at all. I'm expecting dominance from the defense. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we shut them out touchdown wise. Like I could see them getting field goals, but if they don't get a touchdown on the board, it honestly wouldn't surprise me. Pretty confident in our defense, especially we adjust amazing at halftime.
Yeah.
Like their offense is not dynamic enough that in the second half, at least, we don't just dominate them. So I'm not too worried about the defense at all going into this game.
Yeah, I'm not really not either, because I'll be honest with you, Carter. It took me a little bit to get to the Nebraska film after that game, because I'm like, Dad, I'm not trying to watch it. Like, it's so bad that I just didn't want to watch it. When I watched Nebraska's offense versus Colorado's defense, I came away with a lot more positives than I thought I would. I really, really did. I came away from that defense thinking, all right, yeah, there were some mistakes here and there, but this Colorado defense is for real. That's what I came away from even watching that film from, and it starts with their linebackers for me. Bentley and Nikai Hill-Green. I think Bentley's the more well-known linebacker for the Buffs. He's been starting and played even last year for the Buffs. To me, it looks like he took a massive step forward this year. Like, he's become a better player. But Nikai Hill-Green, I don't know how he wasn't starting from the beginning. It kind of blows my brain that he wasn't starting from the beginning. CU's linebackers remind me of, like, this is the 1997 version of Colorado. That's what this group reminds me of, man. They are physical. They're blocking, or they're stacking and shedding on blocks. They're getting after the runner. Like, this is an unusual linebacker group. It's not just good. Even their play style is unusual. And I think even more than the interior defensive line, maybe against North Dakota State, I gave the interior defensive line even a little more credit than they should have, but they did have Chidozie that game, so I don't know. But the linebackers are so good against the run. They shoot gaps, everything like that. And when you're playing a running offense like Baylor, especially when they're spreading it out, like, you have less guys in the box to even block these guys. They should be able to dominate, because I don't care if they're spreading out. I'm still putting Nikai Hill-Green out there, because I want them to pass. Please pass. Please, Baylor, pass. That's what we're looking for. I'm daring them to do that. So I'm not – I might play Woods less than I even would against these other teams, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me with the linebackers going into this Baylor game is how disciplined they are, which is going to help. Like, they're both older college players, big-time leaders, Levante especially. But the discipline's really going to help them if Daquan Finn starts with the option stuff that they're going to run with him.
Yeah. And yeah, you're totally right. Just to read some of Daquan Finn's stats as well, because I think people would find it interesting. Or actually, let's get into this first, because you wanted to do this before the show, and I think this is a great topic. Who would you rather play? Would you rather play, if you're the Colorado Buffaloes and you're coaching their defense, would you rather play Sawyer Robertson, or would you rather play Daquan Finn? One is more of the passing style quarterback in Robertson, and then one is more of your dual threat style quarterback in Daquan Finn, who's a big time transfer they got down there from Toledo this year. Who would you rather play if you're the Colorado Buffaloes this week?
I'm gonna lean Sawyer Robertson, and I think it's because of the type of style we've seen already. So CU goes up against North Dakota State, and they have North Dakota State's offense had some RPOs, some options, a quarterback who could run the ball, and Cam Miller. And that kind of gave CU a little bit of trouble, and that's why the game was close. And then I would compare Sawyer Robertson to Fowler Nicolosi, who's willing to throw the deep ball, willing to test windows. I think it's easier to find success against a more traditional, when we're kind of sound at all positions on the defense. Like, I don't think Baylor has a wide receiver who's got better jump ball skills than Travis, even remotely close. So I trust our DBs versus wide receiver room. And then if our edge group can get in there, they don't have the strongest O-line. So I'd like our edge group to go and get some sacks against a traditional quarterback who doesn't really move much in the pocket. So that's why I'm going Robertson instead of Daquan Finn.
Okay. Oh, so you would rather play Robertson than DeQuan Finn? Okay.
I would rather play Robertson. Yeah.
I'm gonna go the other way. I would rather play I would rather play DeQuan Finn than Robertson. Just the numbers. Again, I need to get more Baylor film. Maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I am. I've watched a ton of Colorado film. I got 2 games of Baylor, and they were playing Air Force and the Tarleton State team. Like, what am I going to learn there? You know what I mean? But on like almost half the attempts, Robertson is leading this team in passing. That's not conducive to this team, I don't think, especially when your quarterback, it's not like DeQuan Finn is tearing it up on the ground out there. At least I don't think he's tearing it up. And then DeQuan Finn, 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Again, let's look at the strength of competition so far. 2 of the 3 games are against Tarleton State and Air Force. This isn't very great here. I just don't see it from this offense generally. If I'm being honest, I don't think either quarterback is going to be amazing this game. I think if the Baylor wins this, they're going to have to win in more of a low-scoring game. I doubt they're just going to tear up CU's defense here in this game. But, yeah, I would just rather play Sawyer Robertson or DeQuan Finn than I would Sawyer Robertson, Carter. I just don't see the stats there to validate it. You get this stat. DeQuan Finn, he's taken 4 sacks on the whole year. It's not that much. Shedor's taken more than 4 sacks. Bro, it's 43 yards, though. It's he's averaging 10 yards a sack back there. CU,
crazy.
That's a crazy stat. I don't know what he's doing to do that. It's a 4 sacks minus 43 yards on those sacks. Whereas Sawyer Robertson, he's only taken 1 sack now. Again, he hasn't been out there as much, but it's minus 4 yards. You know, it's not as much. I would rather play DeQuan Finn for that. I just think he's more up and down. I think if you can force him into 3rd and long situations, that's honestly probably when Sawyer Robertson would come in the game. But CU's going to be able to screw with him a little bit with Livingston is.
Yeah, let me add one more thing onto it. A couple more reasons I'd rather see Robertson actually is it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to rain Saturday night, and I don't want them to just that not to affect them because it's going to affect our passing game if it's pouring. Yep. So I would like to see that affect their passing game as well. And I think they are less prone to explosive plays if they want to beat CU, they have to find an explosive play every once in a while. And I think that's more likely on a busted read option where DeQuan Finn goes for 60. So I want them to beat, to quote Fowler Nicolosi, 11 on 11, beat them all the way down the field with no explosive.
All social media clicks. You heard it here from Carter Dillon. Make sure you follow him. Let him know how you feel about that. No, but I think that's fair. And I think even to validate your point there, Carter, CU hasn't had great success against the running quarterback and stopping that quarterback from running, especially just with how much cover 1 man this team runs. It feels like that's kind of their staple, and that's kind of what they want to be in. Against man coverage, when a quarterback like DeQuan Finn, when he sees DBs turn their back in man coverage, that's a right away pass for, hey, I should take off and run here because no one's looking. And you saw CU struggle with that so far this season. And honestly, like I saw those 2 Baylor. I watched a Baylor podcast. There's that one that was clipped on Twitter where they were like, Baylor should score 40 points or 30 points this next game at least. Like, they're going to get their offense together against CU. One, you haven't watched CU's defense yet to have that prediction. But yeah, I don't know. I think you bring up a good point against DeQuan Finn.
They're both fair. Like they're both. I don't think the difference in points, the difference in how much CU beats them by, is going to be that much different between each quarterback. I still think CU is going to win regardless.
Yeah, I think that's fair. let's move on to the defense here for Baylor. Carter, what have you noted there? What are you expecting against Colorado's offense?
I think they're pretty well coached, disciplined. They run a lot of zone, so I can't imagine they're too confident in their defensive backs. I mean, they were doing it against Air Force, and it's like, okay, cool. So I don't think they're that athletic in the secondary, and I think they are going to match up poorly to our wide receivers. So hopefully it's not raining too hard and we can get some explosive plays from our receivers. But I didn't really have much on the defense. I just expect CU's offense to just continue being CU's offense as long as we establish the run game. That's the big thing I'm looking for. If Dallin comes back, him and Micah probably be your 1-2, maybe a little bit of Augusta in there, but I want to see them establish that running game.
Yeah. I think that's fair. And I think that's something they want to do with the pistol formation that they run. If you guys don't follow Let's Talk Buffs on Twitter, I'm going to keep promoting it. But we posted a clip on there from Matt McChesney on his podcast, which is fantastic, by the way, when he had Deion Sanders Jr. on there. And it sounds like everything out of pistol, they only had runs out of that formation. They were taking concepts, specifically Shedeur was taking concepts out of other formations and applying it to pistol to make it make sense there. Hey, this is going to be a formation that you're going to have to respect. And that's where CU has found the majority of their running success is in that formation. So you hope this week, and I would be shocked if they weren't, just adding on to that offense to your point of running the football better. It sounds like, hey, they found something that works, and now they want to expand upon that. Give defenses something else to think about out of pistol. So that's exciting, and I hope to see more of that going into this week, and hopefully that opens up other parts of their offense too, just having so much success in that. So, yeah, I do too want to see them expand on their run game. I think that comes out of a lot of what we just talked about. Another part I want to see them continue upon, Carter, is their quick game offense. I felt like that was phenomenal in that CSU game. That's the best I've seen Colorado's quick game since in the Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders era, if I'm being honest with you. Everything was quick. It was on time. It was accurate. It was right where the receivers needed to catch it. And then most importantly, when you're doing quick game, these receivers are going to have to block their asses off, and they were blocking their ass off. That's something I can't stress enough. All of them. Will Shepard, LeJontay, like every single player, Jimmy, all of them, everyone who was on the field, they were blocking for each other and creating bigger plays. It's huge for this unit to do that when you have so many playmakers, guys that can create after the catch. That list can go on and on and on and on and on. I'm not even going to get into it, right? Because when they're blocking, good things are going to happen. Let's get LeJontay in space. Let's get some good blocking. It's gonna be magic for this team if that's something they can continue to do. So that's my biggest thing this week. Just continue with the quick game.
Yeah, I think just winning the time of possession. If you win the time of possession versus this Baylor team, you're going to find success. You just got to have long, sustained drives. There's obviously going to be those explosive plays because that's just a staple of CU's offense. They have too much dynamic weapons on that offense. But if you win the time of possession and have those long, dreadful drives and give your defense a break and find a way to score on majority of your drives, it's a recipe for success.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that was one of the big issues against North Dakota State and why that game was so close is just simply out of who had the ball longest right there, right? When CU was scoring like that, like fast, and CU's defense couldn't get off the field. They were all long drives. It's just not conducive to what you're doing. Your quarterback isn't getting into any rhythm. Like nothing's happening there. So yeah, you like to see them be able to control the clock a little more. Running the football, quick game, both do that. Another thing I want to highlight, I mean, it wouldn't be a CU's podcast if we didn't say, hey, the O-line needs to play good. That's one thing we absolutely have to say. They came out against CSU and played really good. whoever that dude Seaton was blocking, man, shout out to you, Colorado State. But that dude, hey, yo, best of, man. That was terrible.
Yeah.
That dude was shooting gaps left and right. It felt like he didn't know the game plan. He probably fell asleep in the meetings. I don't know. But the O-line looked better last week. It looked like they took that game personal against Nebraska, and they came out that against CSU, and they played a ton better. I think with the transfer portal and you just creating a group that way, you're probably going to literally in real time see this O-line play better week after week after week. And that Nebraska game was just, hey, we're playing a really good defensive line early. And we're not ready to get there yet. So, give me a little on the offensive line, Carter.
Yeah, I think, and this can be a thing at every position group, but O-line, especially when you have 5 new guys in there, it might take a little bit to find your identity. Maybe because you don't have any preseason in college. So it might take a little bit to find your identity, get that group that you really love. And I think they found that with Phillip Houston at right tackle, benching Mayers, moving Brown back to a more natural position. I think they finally found their identity, and I hope they build off of it. I expect them to keep the same O-line, obviously, because they had their best outing versus CSU. And it's not a great Baylor D-line, I don't think, at least. Like, it's not going to be like Nebraska. We know that for sure. So just keep building, keep that confidence up, and then just keep Shedeur upright.
Yeah, Phillip Houston, that's a crazy one. That's a light player. For anyone that doesn't know, this is like a 250-pound player there.
He was moving dudes, though. I mean, he was getting physical. So if he can play, man.
Yeah, no, I love to hear it. I love to hear that. Yeah, I mean, I think CU is still trying to figure that out, right? And you're getting better results, and you're still trying to find that perfect grouping, like I said earlier, and then plus the chemistry. How is this all working out together? I got to give a big shout out to Coach Phil Lodeholt. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's going to be the one that gets the CU offensive line right. I really do, and it's not just this year. I think it's going to be years past if he's not poached from a bigger program. I have a ton of faith for Phil Lodeholt and his experience as a player. Like, he was a really good player too. People forget, for the Vikings, Phil Lodeholt was a dude. He was a baller. Blocking for AP all day, Adrian Peterson, best running back I ever saw in my life. So, I think Phil Lodeholt's going to get this team there. And then, like we mentioned at the beginning, even getting the offensive lineman recruit in. This is a Phil Lodeholt thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, but
go.
There is no more important position to recruit through high school and build through your program than the offensive line. Like, having those guys in your weight room and understanding what it takes to play at CU, be with your strength coaches, being in those meetings, that is, to me, the most important position to have high school recruits at.
Yeah.
And we were off to a great start, right? Number 1 offensive tackle in the nation is at CU. So I hope they keep building on that. But go ahead.
No, you nailed that. And you mentioned Seaton, and I'm an offensive line guy, so I got to talk about it. Boy, am I excited to see Seaton, like, not just play how he's playing this year, who is a very consistent offensive lineman for the Buffs. But what makes him exciting is that through 3 games, he's been consistent, and I see so much he can improve on. That is what makes him so exciting. I call it the off-season peanut butter. Once he gets some off-season peanut butter in him, he starts bulking up. This dude starts putting some weight on him. Whew. That guy's going to be a problem, because the one part of his game is like, all right, I don't really see you moving people in the run game that much. You have good body position. Like, you're playing to your strengths. If the ball's going right, okay, I'm letting you go straight up field because I'm the left tackle. Like, he's a really smart football player. Once he's a true freshman. Once he starts putting some serious strength on, which he already has, it sounds like he's in a good routine there. This guy's going to be a serious problem at left tackle for the Bucks. It'll be crazy one day to see left tackle Jordan Seaton drafted from University of Colorado. Right. That's going to happen one day.
Oh, it will.
He's good. He's really good. So much to improve on. Hand placement, so much. And he's already a pretty consistent player for the Buffs. And Anything else before we sign out here, though, Carter? I want to get, or actually, we have to get the score predictions. I do this on Let's Talk Broncos every time, too. Let's get at the score predictions for this Baylor game. Let us know, what are your thoughts there, Carter?
Yeah, and we'll do a player to watch, too, both sides of the ball.
Yeah, let's do a player to
All
watch.
right. Yeah. So for score prediction, I'm kind of thinking a low-scoring game. It's supposed to rain, like I said. CU might get off to a slow start. They've done that the first few games. So I'm gonna go 24 10. 24-10 is my final score prediction for this game. CU wins.
24-10?
24-10.
Damn, okay. We're very close. We're very, very close.
Okay.
My reasoning on, so I'm going to go 28-14 Buffs. Here's my thing on it. I think CU's defense is a lot better than people are giving it credit right now, one. Secondly, I see a lot of people saying that this could be a blowout in their direction. That, with their offense, seems very unrealistic to me. I see it more realistic that CU's offense, they're going to have explosive plays. I don't care who they're playing in the country. They're going to have some explosive plays. They're going to have those. Plus, they're just going to have some drives where they're really good. So I'm going 28-14 Buffs. I just think their offense is better. And honestly, I think their defense might be better than Baylor's defense. So, yeah, player to watch for you.
Yeah, and one more thing on that. The spread is CU -2. No way. Hammer that thing.
Is it really? Okay, it's -2 CU. Okay.
CU -2. But, dude, there's no way they only win by a field goal. And even if they do, that still cashes, right? So hammer that. But player to watch on offense.
We're going to come in here looking crazy. But anyways.
player to watch on offense. I'm going to go with Will Shepherd. I think he's still waiting to pop. Like, I still don't think we've seen what Will Shepherd can be. He had a little bit more action in the CSU game. Unbelievable catch on the sideline. Almost had that deep fade ball from Shedeur. So I think Will Shepherd just keeps getting more involved and more comfortable as the year goes on. So I think we finally see a Will Shepherd touchdown this game. So that's my player to watch on offense.
I like that one. I do like that one. Why not go with – I'm going to just throw a different player out there who you should probably touch on. That's going to be Micah Welch. I'll say Micah out there at running back is my player to watch. He already is leading this team in rushing, and he has, no rushes. He really got his first rushes last game. He is going to be a player built like a bowling ball, true freshman out there at running back. Pound for pound, the best runner of the football I've seen CU implement right now. Dallin Hayden's probably more talented, but Micah has had the best results. I think he's been best right now. So I'll say Micah. I think he's going to get carries for the rest of the season as he continues to develop as a blocker. That's what's going to get him more time in there with the Buffs, especially when he's sitting next to a guy that is going to be like a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. Is probably important. You got to block, bro. We're not. Shedeur's not missing out on that huge NFL draft bag because you can't block. That's not what we're doing. So Micah is my player to watch, especially out of that pistol formation as they continue to grow on that. Defensively, though, give me a player to watch.
Defensively, I think I'm talking about Will Shepherd pop, and I think it's time for BJ Green to pop.
Ooh, I like it.
This guy's talented. I think regardless what quarterback's in there, I think there's going to be opportunities for sacks. The Robertson guy likes to sit in there and take his time. Daquan Finn, obviously, you brought up that crazy stat about averaging -10 per sack. So I think BJ Green finally gets home, and he has a breakout game for CU.
I like that one. He's probably your most polished pass rusher for the Buffs right now. He has a ton of different moves in his bag, and he can really get after the passer. We just haven't played a passing quarterback yet or a passing team yet. This is the first team that's actually like a spread offense. They just run out of that spread. So because of how they run, I'm going to go with Anquin Barnes, who had a really good game against CSU, 6'5", 315, monster, dude. Huge at that nose. And he was dominating that nose. He really was. I think they found something there. even when Chidoze comes back, if it's this week or whatever the case may be, he's going to still get plenty of time because he's that good and he's still young. You're still going to have to play him going in the future. So, yeah, that's mine there. What do you think about Barnes real quick?
Yeah, I like it. And I talked about it last night with Mario about a story about Levanta Bentley helping out Barnes when Bentley was hurt. Just shows leadership of Bentley. But, dude, Anquin Barnes' potential is there. He's a big dude. Like, he can just eat 2 blockers easily every run play and still have the power to get through it. So I love that pick. If they decide to run the ball a lot, I think Anquin Barnes could be in for a huge game.
Yeah, yep, helps those linebackers. Like you said, awesome player there. But cool. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Make sure your guys are going to follow Carter. Carter, give him your @ real quick.
Carter Dillon 14 on Twitter.
Yes, please go give him a follow. He is a rising star. This dude is crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. The kind of drive this guy has that he showed me today is, watch out for him, man.
Thank you.
Potentially at CU games, who knows? And then make sure you're following me at LTB_Joey. Make sure you guys are following the podcast where we're posting clips of the All 22 film. Carter and I both watch that every single week. We post our favorite clips or what we're concerned about, whatever the case may be, whatever comes to mind. We post on there, and that's at Let's Talk Buffs. Make sure you guys are following that. But, yeah, I think that's all for this week. And until next time, go Buffs.
Go Buffs.